For the longest time, I've always wanted to try out and play through the Devil May Cry series, especially after seeing how amazing Devil May Cry 5 looked. But due to my family only being Nintendo consoles only and DMC being a PlayStation exclusive for most of its lifespan, I never got to try it out. So, a few years ago, to hear that the Switch was getting Devil May Cry games for a completely new audience to experience piqued my interest for trying out this legendary series. I went in with expectations that it's going to be some epic story with amazing gameplay connecting with each other, and when I finished it, all I had to say was, man, this game's fucking weird as hell. I'm not saying that it was a bad game, I actually really enjoyed it. I just never expected it to pan out the way that I expected. Devil May Cry 1 left a really interesting first impression for me since the series nowadays was renowned for its smooth and stylish combat, amazing visuals and music. God damn, the music is good! Yet DMC started as this atmospheric gothic game similar to games such as Resident Evil and Silent Hill, but with a very action-heavy combat system and kick-ass music, which I quite liked as an introduction for it. A little history lesson for the series. DMC was originally one of the 4 prototypes of Resident Evil 4 directed by Hideki Kamiya that got scrapped since the vision for the game strayed too far away from Resident Evil. Capcom then focused on a different prototype that looked more similar to the Resi 4 that we have nowadays. Capcom saw the prototype of Devil May Cry being vastly different from Resi, as well as all the progress that they've made, and thought, hey, why don't we make a game out of this? And the rest is what is known as history. Another cool fact, the director Kamiya went on to actually make some pretty awesome games in the future, such as Beautiful Joe, Bayonetta, and Akemi. If you're a fan of Resident Evil and especially Resi 4, I believe you will enjoy this game, as it follows similar rules to Resident Evil, such as my favorite aspect, the Resident Evil type beat puzzle solving. Some people will consider this game a classic, and while I do believe it's a very important game for the franchise and the hack and slash genre as a whole, it is without its flaws. With this legendary series, I wish to focus on 3 main categories for this game, that being its story, combat, and music. This will be a reoccurring structure for the Devil May Cry games that I wish to focus on. Now, I normally don't really care too much about a game story unless you're an RPG or a game series is called Metal Gear Solid. Devil May Cry's story is decent to say the least, loosely based off the 1320 Italian poem Divine Comedy by a guy who's named after the main character. You'll notice it especially with a lot of the characters' names within the series being based off characters within the poem, such as Virgil being Dante's guide, and Trish being based off Lady Patrice and many more characters later in the series. The game starts off by explaining about the legendary demon knight Sparta and the war between the underworld and Earth. This war plays a large part for the entire series, so just keep it in the back of the mind. After the explanation about Sparta, we are then introduced to the 2 main characters for DMC1, the legendary demon hunter Dante who's up for hire, and this mysterious woman. Devil May Cry. I've already told you, we close at 9. It's certainly going to be a painful month for all I'm getting pointless calls. Whoa, slow down, babe. Well, you certainly made yourself an entrance. I dig it. Anything I can help you with?
So, you must be the talk in the town that'll do any dirty job. Am I correct?
I guess you could say that. I only take special jobs, though, if you catch my drift.
You're the man who lost a mother and a brother to a man named Mundus. You're the son of the legendary Dark Knight Sparta, right, Dante?
Okay, the fact you know so much about my family kinda concerns me, but your kind comes around here quite often. Now, I'll ask again, anything I can help you with?
All I'm here for is to see if you're actually the son of Sparta.
Huh? What the hell was all that for?
Far out, not in the chest.
Pathetic, honestly. Are you really the son of Sparta? Did your father ever teach you the ways of the sword?
A sword? Thanks for reminding me of my trap card.
What?
Even though you knew about my past, you must have forgotten that I had demonic blood in me.
What strength?
You were the first client to know about my vengeance. Seems to me I'm getting closer to my endgame.
You're correct on that. However, I'm not your enemy. The name's Trish. I came here to seek your help, to put an end to the underworld.
What are you talking about? Trish then explains that 20 years ago, Mundus, the king of the underworld, is attempting to wreak havoc on Earth on Mallet Island, so it's up to Dante, son of the Dark Knight Sparta, to put an end to this. Entering the first mission, yes, and these games are played out in missions, which I found very odd at first, but I got used to it afterwards. Dante enters the castle and is greeted with this ominous and eerie track. If you listen close enough, you can actually hear a sample from To Bourbon and Pine in the album Pandora's Toolbox by David Torn. This has also been used in other songs such as Resident Evil 4 and Monster Hunter as a sample. Fighting off marionettes and obtaining a cool as fuck sword that has lightning, Dante encounters Mundus' first servants and Dante's first boss, a giant spider scorpion known as Lava Squitter. Oh, sorry, wrong game. Just give me 1 sec. Ah, there we go. Phantom.
I thought I smelled bigger prey. Too bad you're just another puny pushover.
That's why your pincers are raggedy.
That's why your mama did it. That is hell. I sure she got on.
After defeating Phantom before Dante has another episode, we make our way down to the sewers until...
Yo, suffering, I'm back.
2 Capcom chase sequences later, Dante kills Phantom and puts my arachnophobia to rest.
Oh, you fucking bastard.
Continuing his journey through Mallet Island, Dante then decides to go defeat a giant demon bird known as Griffin, who has the most kick-ass song of the game. The blob on the floor, known as Nightmare, ripped straight out of the Umbrella Corporation or something, I don't know, and a masked Dark Knight, known as Nello Angelo, who is the coolest boss in this game. During the first encounter, Nello Angelo prepares to kill Dante after overpowering him, but doesn't pull the devil trigger after seeing Dante's half amulet. 2 Star Wars sequels later, Nello's Angelo identity is revealed Scooby-Doo style and shown to be Dante's twin brother Virgil, brainwashed by Mundus. After Virgil seemingly dies, his amulet joins with his half-brother, and Dante's primary sword, which he has inherited from his father, the Force Edge, changes to its perfect form, known as the Sparta. But Alistair is just way better, so sorry, Dad. Entering Hell, we end up needing to save Trish from Nightmare. 1 tedious boss fight of rubbing my ass up against the wall and putting this nightmare to rest, Trish betrays Dante and reveals her secret plan.
What a naive soul you are, Dante. You should have known better not to trust those working with Umbrella.
Trish, I think you're in the wrong game.
Shit!
Despite being double-crossed, Dante, being the Chad that he is, saves Trish from Nightmare, only because he's a softie and cares for Trish since she looks like his mother. Dante decides to do this again when confronting Mundus, yet doesn't yield the same result. Mundus then fires a beam to kill him, but it's Trish who decides to bite the bullet for Dante. With Trish supposedly dead, Dante decides to go Super Saiyan, allowing him to take the form of Sparta. Dante and Mundus then battle each other in what looks to be a scrap level of Star Fox. This boss fight is just epic, because Dante could just summon a fucking dragon during this fight. Like, what? Despite Mundus' overwhelming power, Dante is victorious and, believing Trish is dead, reinforces what the game's title is, leaving his amulet and sword with Trish's body before departing. Because my contractor and my friends want me to do this, I shall do the funny scene for you all in all of its glory.
My mother risked her life for me, and now you too. I should have saved you.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light.
This was my mother's. Now I'm giving it to you. My father's also here now. Rest in peace.
Man, voice cracking on demand sucks. Another Capcom escape sequences later that's making me feel like I'm playing a Metroid game. Dante is then cornered by Munis, who used his power to come to Earth somehow. Like, I just don't get how this works. Dante, unable to defeat him and out of ideas, Trish decides to enter Kramer style like it's a Seinfeld episode, and fuses her powers with Dante's pistols. Dante then sends Munis to Narnia and swears he'll come back as a mob boss in 2013, where Dante is edgy all of a sudden.
Who are you? What do you want?
You were careless. You left a trail. Now he's on to you.
What are you talking about? Who's on to me?
Sorry, wrong game. Trish then decides to apologize to Dante and breaks down, but Dante breaks the title of the game once again by saying devils never cry. Like, come on man, you had one fucking job. Dante and Trish escape the plane similar to how Leon and Ashley do in Resident Evil 4 and as the island explodes. After the credit shows a cutscene of Trish and Dante working together with their new shop named Devils Never Cry.
Think you can handle a horde of demons one-handed?
I can do that blindfolded. You had one fucking job, Dante, and you just fucked it up. Overall, it's a pretty good story, all things considered. However, Devil May Cry isn't super well known for its story. No. What it's very well known for is its combat and its gameplay. The combat for this game takes some time to get used to for anyone new to the series and inadvertently flawed yet still enjoyable, which kind of ties into a lot of parts of the game. Combat. It's flawed yet enjoyable. Underwater section. Flawed but not as bad as Metal Gear Solid 2. Voice acting. Flawed yet perfect.
Block off, Featherface, or you can stick around and find out the hard way.
Nah, it's just perfect. I mainly had 3 issues that came with the combat, being the fixed camera, auto lock-in system, and the inputs. While not issues on their own, combined left a very bad taste in my mouth. Fixed cameras are just a massive red flag when it comes to a game that relies on its movement and combat, as the camera just changes sporadically as if the cameraman was an Enderman. I know that Resident Evil 1 and 3 followed a fixed camera and was off the frameworks of that, but fuck the fixed cameras in DMC1. All my homies hate fixed cameras. An auto lock-on system made it extremely frustrating if you just wanted to focus on one specific enemy. A problem that they did fix in the next edition of the series and the rest of the series entirely. This is prominent during the blob fight, known as Nightmare. You need to hit these symbols in order to reveal the boss's weak point, but you need to be basically rubbing up against the wall or Dante's just going to swing towards the boss, completely missing the spot you're trying to hit thanks to our good friend Auto Lock-On. I am so thankful that they fixed this because goddamn this shit was annoying. Another issue I really had was just challenge. While it is a pretty challenging game if you don't know what you're doing or being carefree like the dingus that I am, you're most likely going to be relying on that trusty shotgun and other guns since guns are just absurdly overpowered in this game. You don't need to know what you're aiming at, yet you still hit them thanks to our good friend Auto Lock-On. Hey, maybe it's not so bad after all. Or you could just power up Devil Trigger and use Air Raid's Rage Attack, which basically gets rid of most of the challenge throughout your playthrough. But I can excuse that for being the first in the series, in which they have fixed the issues with gun being overpowered in DMC3 and onwards. What I can't excuse is the dodging mechanic. I'm aware that it's a staple for DMC which has been improved over time with its later entries, but this problem was especially obvious with the Scissor mini-boss. It's an extremely frustrating and annoying fight that you really need to dodge with fast as hell reflexes from areas that you're not really ready to initiate, changing Dante's orientation and completely messing you up. Double that with battling with this very fun camera angle, this battle was just not fun in the slightest, especially with the boss being quite early in the game. You could say just get good, but good lord, all these problems added up just did not leave a good taste in my mouth, and did not make this encounter enjoyable. Now, I don't want to just shit on this game's legacy, because it's really important for setting the groundwork for the series. I do want to discuss what I do love about this game, which is basically everything else. It feels good and impactful hitting your enemies, which is what the series is really good at achieving, making the player feel awesome playing as this legendary demon hunter Dante, face-offs against enemies and epic bosses. You gain 4 weapons in DMC1, the Force Edge being a standard store passed down by your father Sparta, yet it's just dog shit. Alistair, which is basically the cooler Force Edge, allowing Dante to access Devil Trigger. Multiple sword attacks such as Stinger having my favorite Dante line. and aerial mobility such as air hike being a double jump, as well as mobility and attacks during Devil Trigger. Infrared, fire gauntlets that are slower than the swords but dish out huge damage and allows Dante to dish out Kick 13, dish out fire attacks, and shoot fireballs using Devil Trigger. This is my personal favorite, but goddamn, it's just really fun shooting fireballs. And Sparta, the legendary sword used by none other than Sparta himself, which can even turn into a spear. It has incredible range, yet the cost of it is not allowing Dante to use Devil Trigger. As well, you gain 5 guns. Ebony and Ivory, dual pistols, nothing more, nothing less, and they just feel good. Time to get to work. The shotgun, aka your best friend. This bad boy would just kill about anything, since it's fucking broken as hell, especially with our good friend auto lock on. Hey, maybe it's not so bad. Grenade gun. Do you like using double arms? Yeah, that ain't happening, kid. Take this pseudo rocket launcher and just have a blast. Needle gun. You can only use this underwater as it's the only form of attacking while swimming, but having nothing would be a better alternative since it's pretty shit. And Nightmare Beta. A gun so broken that bullets bounce all over the place like an 8-year-old on a sugar rush. However, it does cost Devil Trigger, so it's a risk versus reward gun. I should also talk about the elephant in the room, that being Devil Trigger. Devil Trigger, or I'm just going to refer to it as DT, is an ability used by Dante and other characters later in the series that basically allow him to go God mode. You deal more damage, move faster, take less damage, heal, and sound really cool as fuck within the later games.
This power of Sparta.
Mentioned earlier, while it does feel weird at the start and has some flaws when it comes to the combat, it has never made me quit the game, since the gameplay of DMC1 nails of making you feel like a fucking badass, fighting enemies and especially fighting the bosses. The beauty of the Devil May Cry series bosses is that they're designed so that the player has to understand the rule of Devil May Cry. Learning the boss's patterns. Where are their weak spots? When's the best time to use your Devil Trigger? Learning how to dodge attack. Replenish your DT by taunting your enemies and using all your tools that you're given to and utilizing them to its maximum potential. I died way too many times on the third Griffin fight, but every time I failed and died, it felt soul crushing. But after learning the laser patterns and finally defeating Griffin for good and sacrificing him, it felt very satisfying and rewarding. All in all, I believe DMC1 does a really good job making you feel epic fighting enemies and bosses, despite its flawed combat system. I wanted to make this an entire segment because while I practically grown up with my dad's taste of rock and metal music as well as my mom's taste in punk music, I grew up enjoying a good video game soundtrack, or an OST as I like to say. The reason why I brought this up is because recently I have a deeper sense of appreciation for music as a whole, and especially in video games. It is difficult making an original soundtrack for a game, and it's really difficult making a good video game soundtrack. Some of my personal favorite video game soundtracks will probably be Metal Gear Rising, Doom Eternal, Silent Hill 2, Hades, Bayonetta, and the Devil May Cry series as a whole, because hot damn is it just that good. The music for the series has the mix of ambient tracks while also having the bangers and emotional tracks. Each iteration of DMC has a different music genre that correlates with the characteristics of Dante, that being his personality and his clothing. In DMC1's case, it has a dark electronic style that's energetic and loud during combat, but also has a good mixture of it being dark and ominous. Lock and Load is a perfect example of having both ominous tones, yet being an awesome song to fight demons to. Dante's clothing strikes a very similar look to the 1998 movie Blade, which also uses dark electronic music to accompany the action, so I guess you can correlate to the fact that Blade might be an inspiration for Dante's design? Who knows? The Divinity statue from DMC1 is also a really good example of the ambient, ominous tracks. It features chanting that gives this ominous yet calming feeling for me. I remember reading comics that people were scared by it when they were kids, and that's understandable. It's a creepy statue that's barely given any explanation besides, if you give me red orbs, you can have these really cool moves. It's surprising that the Divinity statues haven't really been brought up at all within the lore and story of Devil May Cry. Like, it's a god that watches over the descendants of Sparta with almost love and care, at the cost of demon blood. I believe this theme of DMC1 represents the discovery of oneself as Dante is trying to discover who he is as well as finding his long-lost brother Virgil. It's a perfect capture of the spirit of an oasis trapped within a demonic-possessed castle. For it being the first in a series, Devil May Cry 1 does an amazing job with its music, as it perfectly correlates with the game and its cutscenes. If you ask my personal favorite tracks, I would say the Ancient Castle stage, Public Enemy. The Phantom Battle. Nella Angelo's Battle. Lock and Load. Flock Off. And as much as we all like the funny light meme, I just really like the theme of Trish. I really do hope you enjoy this love letter to this game, and I hope you all enjoy the future videos similar to this. Stay safe all. I'll love you all.